Hello everyone. Today's talk will be titled The Touch of Life. Touch of Life. And we want to, in a sense, inquire and see if we are untouched by life or we are touched by life. And so as one asks this question, they're no longer asking it from man, they're asking it from the awareness of man. And so man's awareness constantly plays with itself and fluctuates in ways where his conscious identity can at times resonate with and not resonate with. In other words, throughout the day, if you really look at what you've done, you've probably done some stuff you don't like, and some stuff you like, you do like. And once you look at this, you see where is the liking coming from? And so where is your own judgment system originating from? In other words, how can you judge something in your reality? Are you comparing it to a sense of past? Are you comparing it to a sense of present? Are you comparing it to a sense of future? And so this is the first toy we're given in reality, that of the categorization and segmentation of our space and time. This is how your space and time looks like, and it seems like the body agrees too. Our eyes see in this way. And so it's funny because some men think all scientists have the same eyes, and in a sense they do when looking at certain things, but when looking at some uncertain things, their own opinions, their own judgment system comes into play. So we cannot forget that regardless of what path of study or school of education we choose, we must not forget the natural awareness to the human being and what that really means. We should not forget what we are to an idea. What that means is that if tomorrow I came and say a sentence that this is your whole reality and I fed you that hologram, would you say yes or no? We want to see how capable are we in our own remembrance, because remembrance is really the key thing. Someone who's smarter than you is perhaps remembering an idea in which you are not, or perhaps is open to an idea you're not, or at the same time not open. And guys, smartness doesn't exist in a sense objectively. Smartness is your energy and how you're utilizing your ideas to see what your life will be in the whole picture. We want to see what our actions do, not just immediately, but in the long run. We don't want just short run information, we want long run information. And so we see we can't have the long run until we go through the short run. So who is it that is envisioning even a long run? Who is it envisioning a future? Not a lot of people even enter their future because you know why? They're not in their present. They're not appreciating the change of seasons because they're not looking outside. In a sense, it's really funny, guys. It's as if mankind has been rolled around in such a confusion that it feels its objective reality has nothing to do with its subjective reality, and thinking that its subjective reality has nothing to do with its objective reality. In certain relationships, yes, ideas cannot be stronger than physical objective evidence. But in some cases, actually, the opposite. There can be nothing but an idea, and you see that you're only a scientist until you ask that question that makes you a philosopher. And even that you're someone who does not have a profession in that way. And so it is very important to look at this, because this is our reality, this is our time, this is our advancement, this is how we can truly utilize all that we are. It's not about waking up anymore. It's not about a consciousness revolution. It's not about having new ideas anymore. It's about that when those new ideas land, how do you work with them? Guys, trust me, I'm pretty sure, let us just imagine some eyes in the sky, some extraterrestrial eyes in the sky, and they look at a completely grown-up person, usually the one we have in our adult and in society, and we see it's one who has a lot of problems. It's trying to balance the problems to find happiness. Are we really looking for happiness? Or are we here to advance our civilization beyond its meaning of civilization? Do you see this? So, to seek happiness is good, but you don't want to just be happy without meaning. You want to quickly and very accurately interpret the meaning that works for you and do your work here. Do your work here comfortably, calmly, and not professionally, because there's no profession. Because I am not just a philosopher, alchemist, scientist. You could call it a polymath. You could call it anything. You're everything. You're not just, trust me, when you're doing that math question, you're a mathematician. When you're asking that existential question, you're looking at philosophies and even more. When you don't ask questions anymore, you begin to be a dead man's best friend, and you learn from death and silence. It is simply where your attention is being given. Guys, when they say free will, it's not free willy-nilly, you know, it's like, you need to see that, no, free will in the attention of where your experience is going to head. Not free will in the shapes around us and everything that is temporal. So we have free will, and now some people are saying don't see it as free will because it's not free if it's individual. What that means is you don't want the free will that is only limited to an aspect of you. You want a willingness that is holistic, that encompasses the whole cosmos and existence. In other words, I want to answer one of existence's questions. One of reality's questions, one of my reality's questions. Once you answer the greatest question of your reality, you're giving yourself an allowance and a self-initiation into your own greater understanding. There are many schools of thought. You know, it's good. Mankind at this point has now limited its view to seeing that it is really attention and memory. So the most important human activity is the attention to your memory, which in a sense translates an attention to your thoughts, which also translates into a sense of self-awareness, which translates into the stillness that is found in meditation when you go through that deep insight within yourself, you know. And it could be called anything. It could be called your next moment, you know. You know something I find that no one can ever argue with me, you know. No one can ever argue with me, ever. Even I can't argue with myself. It's so good, you know. And what that means is not being observant of many ideas through a sense of play, no, but it means that when I look at life, I see life. A lot of people look at life and see themselves. And this is where elevation is truly found in the sense of being. In other words, you don't just feel like a good person, you feel like every moment your purpose is for all that exists. And so you're its most playful element, you know? And guys, the reason we want to be playful is not to be ridiculous, it's not to be insensitive, but to be sensitive and to see the similar playfulness of perhaps the person who has just retired to the person who has just gotten up. In other words, a sense of ourself needs to go through a death in order for us to understand a new sense of self. What that means is who you are now, right now, needs to go through the experiences you have to go through this year to become the person you're going to be next year, you know? And you know, for some people, their birthday is once a year. For me, it's every moment in which there is a breath to follow. Much blessings, guys. And it is up to you to extract the most beautiful alchemy of existence and infinite change within it. It's up to you to do it, you know? I'm just one voice. I am as temporal as perhaps the many lives that are transitioning every day. Remember this. You are your greatest announcement. You are your greatest understanding, and that you cannot remain. you will see that just like from life, that's how you will understand. So let me tell you this perspective, guys, very quickly, even though I was supposed to end this. Look at this. I want you to see that you are a yogi. You have one thin line of cloth. The temperature is getting cold. You see a cave. You enter this cave. As you enter this cave, you're not just confronting your psychological issues within. The reason you walk into the cave so comfortably is because you know nothing needs to harm you. You have understood that advice from nature, that things happen regardless. In other words, it doesn't matter what level the air conditioning is turned on. If your face is in front of it, you'll feel it, you know. So a lot of people don't worry about the air conditioning as they walk. So, in a sense, this yogi goes into the cave, sits there, there's nothing there, which at first he thinks, but there is something there. As he has sat down in his deep meditation, he sees what is there is the idea of himself in a cave. And so there is a presence. And so he's engaged in an activity of thought, of seeing what he's going to do for his food supply, what he's going to do for his other senses of nourishment, you know, and needs. And so he does not do anything other than attend his own being. And so this yogi sits in this cave, and what occurs is that he reaches a sense of view in which the simplest and subtlest change in his own consideration and thought affects his reality's projection. What that means is that to be aware of thought is actually a different bubble of presence than the awareness of thought when you're engaged in life. So as he has gone through this, in a sense, he went into a cave, but that was just the first cave. That was the first cave the yogi went. The second cave was an internal cave where he went into the emptiness that is this reality. And so once you can see the emptiness in this reality, you have always moved forward and are, in a sense, the action of that which is forth. So in a sense, think of it this way, as if you have actually, at times in your states of flow, done all the things necessary for one lifetime. But it's because you are looking so ahead, innately your consciousness works with ideas of a very grand future. So we see what is we're going to see this actually a lot in a lot of children growing up. And I'm talking about it right before the landing. What that means is that sometimes it's not just, again, extraterrestrials landing, in front of us physically. Sometimes it's the ideas. In other words, if someone can't understand who you are, you talk about an idea for them. And you see, once they have understood the idea. So, it's not that the extraterrestrials, guys, don't work like that. Usually when you're thinking of an extraterrestrial, you're looking at certain archetypes in your own reflection of being. And so it is the process. But when it becomes is when you actually stop self-awareness. So this is more for, let's say, the advanced yogi. In my view, guys, this is of course my talk, Take from it what you can. This is my experience of these things, innate experience, and communicate. So, as you have gone through the first cave, and as you sit there and go through the second cave, you reach a point where the self-awareness is no longer confused. Because trust me, you can close your eyes and you will still be in forms of confusion. And that's because you're constantly trying to interpret your reality. So regardless of what you do, your being is organized in a way that it cannot trust itself if it's really not itself. And so, regardless of what idea you accept, you're always gravitating to your lightest point. You're always gravitating, you're always evaporating towards the sky, the limitless sky. Understand this. So all consciousness here, regardless if you're judging your eyes or another being's eyes, this moment of existence is evolving as well. Do you know? So what that means is that the human experience is simply a platform, it's a station. After that, it goes into a second station where it is the awareness to the human. And then there's another level where the blueprint of this reality is seen to dematerialize into a different materiality, And so that's when you look up at the sky and you see the lights of your being shining. So you have always looked into yourself. And there was never a need to shun the pupil in your eye except from the one that always is present. Much blessings and namaste.